tell me when I can go. We ready? Okay, I'll call this July 16th, 2020 meeting of the Walton County Code Enforcement Board to order, and ask everyone to please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Oh, I did invocation. What is that? Evidently. Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this another beautiful day in Walton County. We thank you for the opportunity to come together and serve each other and serve in our community. And in doing so, we pray that we would serve you to the very best of our ability. We pray for this country and thank you for all that serve so bravely and are rising to the challenges that we are having today. We pray that you would strengthen them and keep them safe and help them in their individual and collective responsibilities and all that's going on nowadays. We would ask your particular guidance and protection for our first responders and our military, as well as our frontline medical personnel, and give them the strength and your help in doing what they do. Thank you, Lord, again for all that you have done. Thank you for this country, for this beautiful state and our community. And we pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was not at the June meeting, so would have no input on the minutes, but has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from last month? Any corrections or additions that have been noted? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the June meeting minutes.
Accept the motion to approve.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. By the way, who do we have on? Any of the board members zooming in today, or are we all here? Only got one. So we have 4 is a quorum? We're good? Okay. I'm sure you would have caught that. Okay, any announcements? Board members or staff?
Figures that I was thinking.
Was that a yes?
Not sure who that was.
All right, I'll assume that was just some more back page stuff. No announcements. We'll move on to the swearing in of anyone giving testimony here tonight. So Renee, if you would do the honors, please.
Anyone who's going to testify or may testify, please stand. Raise your right hand. And repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth before this body and this matter?
Yes.
Those sworn.
All right, let's move on to the first case report. That would be case number 19-007991, and take it away.
Good afternoon, Board. For the record, Lawrence Butler, B-U-T-L-E-R, Code Enforcement Officer, Walton County. I'll be presenting case number 19-007991. Just real quick, is anybody from Gomillion family here? Here for the parcel ID for this property is 28-1S-19-23010-000-007 Bravo. Property owner is Hannah Gomillion. Mailing address is 241 Mullet Drive, Freeport, Florida. The land use is rural residential, and the violation is 1.13.09C building permits. Just a summary up front, our office received a complaint of a large commercial warehouse structure without permits. Inspection revealed a large pole barn on the property. The building department confirmed that the structure would require a building permit, but no permit has been issued. Property location ownership, this is off of LaGrange Road, which is just south of Freeport. You take LaGrange Road and go down to Mullet, and the next slide is a little zoomed in. So what you see there is the pole barn and the two properties. The property owner owns both properties. The code violation is section 1.13.09, administrative developments, section C, building permits, subsection 1, generally. No erection, alteration, or reconstruction of any building or structure shall be commenced without first obtaining a building permit from the building official. So the complaint and investigation. October the 30th, 2019, we received the initial complaint of a large commercial warehouse without permits. I did some property research, and this is a prior case that we had for the same issue. The previous case was, the complainant was anonymous, and it was determined that there was a pole barn on the property, which is an accessory structure, without a primary structure. So it was determined that the property owner, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble breathing with this mask. The property owner owned two lots side by side, one with the pole barn and one with a single family home. So I had them speak to the planning department. Planning department told them to execute a lot fusion, make it one parcel, then the pole barn could be permitted as an accessory structure to a single family home. They submitted the application for the lot fusion, and the code case was closed at that point. This was an anonymous complaint. The manager at the time said they're doing what they're supposed to do, close the case. That's where that ended, that case ended. The turnaround in 2019, we get a repeat complaint on the same property for the same issue. So on November the 6th, site inspection confirmed a large building. I knew it was there from before. I sent the email to Linda Alford in the building department requesting to see if there was a permit. There was no permit. View of the property appraiser's website showed that the two lots were still listed as individual lots. The lot fusion hadn't been recorded properly or something. So on November the 8th, I sent a notice of violation to the property owner with certified mail with delivery confirmation requested. I received the delivery confirmation on November the 18th. I received a phone call from Hannah Gomillion. She stated that the two properties had been combined and there were permits for the structure. I asked her to call the building department and explain that so she could give me a copy of the permit. That never happened. Never heard from her again. Then February the 12th, I spoke with Jason Catalano in the building planning department. He confirmed that the lot fusion had been completed, but had not been recorded with the clerk of courts. There were no other applications for the planning or the design of the building. On February 13th, I asked Linda Alford again if they had a permit. There was no permits for the building department. February the 26th, property owner had not submitted any documentation or update about the code violation. So I sent the notice of hearing for the March code board. And I received the delivery confirmation on March the 3rd. March the 4th, Bradley Gomillion called and spoke with our administrative assistant, Jennifer. She told him to speak with the planner of the day to find out what was required to get this moving forward. On the 5th of March, I talked to Mr. Gomillion. He stated he had paperwork, he had followed the procedure to get the permit in the pole barn, and agreed to bring that paperwork to the office on Tuesday, March the 10th, after 2 p.m. So I rearranged my schedule. He didn't show up. March the 17th,
I'm sorry, what was that last, who didn't show up?
Mr. Gomillion, he
Did
told me
not
he would
use-
bring the permits on the 10th, but he didn't.
He didn't show up, okay.
I made sure I was here at the office at that time, he didn't come. So then, March 17th, the code board was canceled due to COVID. In the next month as well. So on June 23rd, I researched this property again and spoke with Paula in the planning department. She reconfirmed that the lot fusion had been completed but had not been recorded. She actually said she called Ms. Gomillion and told her that she needed to record it with the clerk of courts in order for the lot fusion to be complete. That way she could move on to the next step with the planning. Since nothing had happened, I prepared and sent notice of hearing for July's board and mailed that with a certified mail with delivery confirmation requested. I received delivery of confirmation for the notice of hearing on June the 30th, but it was marked COVID. It didn't have an actual signature on it. So I went to the United States Postal Service website, and it showed it as delivered. July the 14th, a search of the clerk of court's records revealed that lot fusion was recorded to book 3149, pages 1722 to 1724 on July the 7th. That part is done. July the 15th, Jason Catalano in the planning department confirmed no plans have been submitted for the pole barn. They've got the lot fusion completed, but they haven't taken the next step, which was to submit plans for approval to the planning department. Also checked with Kristen White in the building department. No permits have been issued for the pole barn. And as of today, the property remains in violation. Excuse me. Now we'll go through the inspections. This is the actual pole barn.
And this is on, what road is this on? Off of LaGrange, you said, right?
Mullet Drive is, which is off of
Drive,
LaGrange.
Okay.
That's north of the bay, but it's well over 400 square feet and it would require a permit. Next slide is the notice of violation, the original notice of violation. The next slide is the notice I sent out for the March Code Board and the delivery confirmation. And the notice for the July hearing and delivery confirmation, and a copy of the United States, the website. And also, if you go, yeah, and there's the actual lot fusion that was recorded with the clerk of courts. And then, or any questions, I'll give my recommendations.
Board have any questions? All right, so just to kind of summarize, the violation right now is primarily because, or only because of the building plans and the permit application
Yes, sir.
not being
There's no
submitted yet.
building permit for the structure. In
Okay.
order to get the building permit, they will have to go through the process, which would include getting the plans approved by planning department
Right.
and all that. So,
But it is, as far as we know, it would be, there's no reason to think that it would not be permittable.
no, sir.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? All right, then, Mr. Butler, I'll accept your testimony into the record and, excuse me?
Recommendation.
Oh, sorry, we got to do that part, right, excuse me.
Yes, please find that Lot 7 in Mullet Drive, Freeport, Florida, identified as parcel ID 28-1S-119-23010-000-007B, is located within the unincorporated area of Walton County and is subject to Chapter 7 of the Walton County Land Development Code. Please find that a violation of Section 1.13.09C of the Walton County Land Development Code does exist on the property. Please find that proper notice of the hearing was given to the respondent. The respondent is to correct the violation within 10 days of the date of this order, and that the respondent is further ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection of the subject property to verify compliance with this order. That if the respondent fails to comply with the above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with the applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations, according to this order, the board assesses a fine of $250 a day until the property is brought into compliance. And I would request that you accept my testimony and PowerPoint as evidence into.
So accepted, all right, thank you, Mr. Butler. Do we have, this formality, do we have anyone speaking on behalf of the respondent? Okay, how about any public comments? Hearing no response, then I'll close this part of the hearing to the, excuse me?
Well,
I just have to accept.
Of the evidence,
Well-
discussion first.
We'll have the discussion. No, I'm going to close the public discussion and part of the, and then open the discussion for us. So does anyone have any discussion to offer or want to offer a motion at this point?
I have a question. Is it the 10 days, is that to apply for the permit or is that to obtain the permit?
I recommended 10 days because it's been months, and every step of this process, they have to be forced to do it. They're not doing anything on their own. They didn't submit and register the lot fusion with the clerk of courts until I sent them the notice of the hearing. They didn't go to the planning department to find out what they needed to do until I sent them a notice of violation. They're just not doing anything on their own. And when they came into the office, honestly, Mr. Gomillion was quite rude to the ladies that work in the planning department. They're just been defiant the whole way. He admitted he did it without a permit. but they're just not following the procedures.
I'll assume though, I mean, there's no way you're gonna get a permit in 10 days, so
More than likely not, sir, but
your
I
10
wouldn't.
days is, I think the question was whether that's to apply for one or to actually receive one.
Well, we've never been from the position of if it takes the county 2 weeks to process something, they shouldn't be held accountable for that. But they need to submit it.
Right.
And then because once they submitted the first thing, then they just threw their hands up and waited until we forced them to do the next step. So I would like to get it on record that it is in violation. And then if they once they get the permit, then we can assess, how much time it took for the process to go through planning. We wouldn't bother them with that.
Mr. Carpenter, you got any input here? He's behind you there, Lawrence, like he wants to say something.
Matt Carpenter for the Planning Boards, or Planning Department, CARPE and TER. My suggestion, as to clarify Officer Butler's recommendation, would be to require them to submit a complete application within that time frame. I would agree that they wouldn't normally be held accountable for the length of time it takes to process the permit. But I'll tell you what I will do for this board. We'll move that to the top of the list the day that it gets here, so we can get our part done.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so did you understand
No,
what he just
I have
said?
a-
I think
I have
go ahead. Nick.
You close the public, right?
I think I did.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, I
go
wanted to
ahead.
make a comment about the process here, because given what we're dealing with, I think I'd recommend we add that they have to get a permit within a certain period of time in addition to the application process. So if we give them 10 days to get the application in, then I'd like to add to the motion that they must receive a permit within 60 days. Recommendation, does that? Yeah, keep them on course, so we're not back here 2 months from now and they still haven't gotten a permit, gotten a permit.
It's the ball in their court to be proactive, to let the officer know that they're having delays because they're outside their control, which he can then.
That sounds, never how we want to say that, but I want to make sure that they know that they've got 2 steps to go through, and if they don't get it done, then I'm not sure how we structure any fines related to that. How would you suggest we do that?
Well, if they don't, you're basically going to do the same thing that they've got 10 days to complete to file a completed application, and then 60 days to have a finalized building permit. So if they fail the 10 days, then the fine starts.
Right, okay.
But if they complete the 10 days, then they've got 60 more days before any fines would start. If they fail at the 60-day, then the fines start, or they come before the board to say, planning, we haven't gotten the permit outside of our control.
All right, that was gonna be my question.
Then,
I would only ask, so is 60 days, is that too much grace there? I mean,
well, on a pole barn, it shouldn't be, but.
Those written up.
we want to get them that long.
Well, hey,
How long does it take if he's
Well,
going to
you're
put it
gonna
at the top of the stack,
that's
30 days?
That's in Mac's control, but getting the permit's not in his control. He's gonna have, whoever the company, the respondent, I guess, is, he's gonna have to go find an engineer to do it. And I can tell you, the engineers we work with, they're all backed up.
Yeah,
So,
they're backed up.
But I'm thinking 60 days is probably a reasonable time.
Yeah, I would, whatever you agree, you would know better than I would.
So I'd make a recommendation, we accept the officer's recommendation with the changes of the 10 days to complete the application, and then within 60 days, obtain a permit, and that the $250 fine a day starts at 10 days if they haven't submitted the application. Okay?
That work for you?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
From a management standpoint?
Is that
That's a
a
motion.
recommendation or a motion?
That's a motion.
The motion, yeah.
I'll second that.
Got a
That's good.
motion, and
That's
Mr.
good.
Schneider, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think we're approved. Thank you. All right, next Next case is, I believe this is the fine reduction request. We have Mr. Stratton here. Okay. All right, Mr. Stratton, this was case number 19-004721, so Officer Rose, carry on.
Yes, sir. For the record, this is Officer Kurt Rose, Walton County Code Enforcement, and this is in regards to Alan Stratton's order imposing fines and administrative lien in the amount of $4,250. I just wanted you guys to get that number so you had what it was, and I will let Mr. Stratton come up and speak at this time for what he's asking.
Sir, go right ahead.
Well, I was requesting a break on the fine because I had a hard time getting the fee for the water company together, and that's one of the things that made it take so long. And also, the engineers took a long time because I made the mistake of asking them to do the foundations because I thought that would be quick, that they do the foundations. And then when I realized I needed the engineering for the structures also, then they took a whole nother long period of time to get the engineering done on that. And I think that, and the other, it would have been done a little sooner if I had been able to pay with the water company with the credit card. And the only other thing was that I did have a family member out of state that was going to help me with the water company fee, but her daughters did lose their job because of the virus, and I didn't pursue asking her about it because one of them went home to live with her, and but my other sister helped me out to pay the water company fee, and that's when it all got done. So I don't know, people recommended that I ask for a break on the fine, so that's why I'm here.
Okay.
I have a question.
Is that
okay.
that you wanted just my opinion?
Just hang on there a minute, and we'll probably, so this is not actually a hearing, it's we've already heard the case, so we might have some questions for you.
Yeah, I have a question,
Go ahead.
Mr. Stratton. Have you completed everything now? I mean, is everything been taken care of? You have a permit and all that?
Yeah, I have not filed the notice of construction starting, but all the permits are done.
Anyone
The
else?
notice, what do they call it? Notice of
Notice of
Commencement.
commencement.
You do have the notice of commencement?
No, I mean, I have it notarized. I haven't filed it yet because I've been busy on something else. I haven't started.
Mr. Schneider, did you have something?
Please.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna
Just
ask
from
you
a code,
something anyway, so go
yeah,
ahead.
so from a code enforcement standpoint, the affidavit of compliance has been issued and this case is closed. The property was brought into compliance with all applicable codes.
My question for you, Officer Rose, would be, well, to preface it, I mean, this is, I think, there were two hearings. We had a continuation the first time, and then Mr. Stratton's been here now. This would be his third appearance. My perception has been that he's been responsive and trying to cooperate in a reasonable fashion. Is there any reason that you see, or I guess opinion that you have on whether or not a reduction is warranted that you'd want to offer? And you don't have to offer it if you don't want to.
I mean, I know he's been through here several times, and I wasn't the officer on the case at the time, so I don't really have an opinion in regards to that. I can tell you that ultimately our goal is always just to get compliance, and we have compliance in this case, so the fine is potentially irrelevant to us.
Thank you.
Question. Is this fine, has any part of this fine been waived because of the COVID?
So there was a portion of the fine that was waived for COVID, but the $42.50 was what was left prior to that didn't fall into that range.
Anyone else? Any other questions for Mr. Stratton or anyone else? Okay, then, anybody got a opinion?
How much we got in it? Help him out, but we got in it.
Mhm.
How many visits?
I apologize, Mr. Harrison, you can't make a determination. Visits by the officers, because that's part of their job already that we pay.
All right, go ahead, Victor, you got something?
I recommend we reduce the fine to $250.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Go.
Thank you.
discount for you. All right, our next item is case number 19-007-2393. Property owner Derick W. Broussard and David A. Broussard. Who is the case officer on this one?
That would be me.
Okay, Officer Rose.
All right, my apologies for that. That took a lot longer to get Zoom going than I anticipated. All right, for the record, my name is Officer Rose, Walton County Code Enforcement. This is case 19-7239. This is Derick Broussard, David Bergeron, and Tanya Lopez. This is a vacant parcel located at the end of Nimrod Circle, parcel number shown above. The violation on this is 70201A2, junk and litter prohibitions, and 70203A, dilapidated structures. Next slide. These are the violation descriptions. I'm sure you guys have seen these several times, so. Next slide. This takes place out in Villatasso. Nimrod Circle is one of the inner circle there areas there. It's in red. It's about 2 to 3 blocks off the waterfront. Next slide. All right. On October 1st, 2019, a complaint was received by our office concerning junk, debris, abandoned vehicles in the right-of-way at the vacant parcel on Nimrod Circle, which is located in the unincorporated area of Walton County. I conducted the initial site inspection and determined the parcel was in violation of 70201A junk and litter and 70203A dilapidated structures. During the initial inspection, I made contact with Cecil Bryant. He is the stepfather to the property owners. I explained the violations and allowed time for compliance. Next slide. These are all photographs of the initial inspection. This is moving from the road going down towards the property. Going. Next slide. Next slide.
Was the car back there before, was that part of the violation? I mean, it had a license plate on it.
Which,
I don't know.
oh, the brown tan car. So just so that you are, if you want to go back to the brown tan car real quick, right there. Just so you are aware, that's the street.
Oh, okay.
That's where they're parking and
Oh, wow.
collecting all the stuff is on the street.
Actually,
It is a dead end. It does stop at their property, but this is leading up to their property. In the far background, you'll see a tan mobile home. That is partially in the right-of-way itself, and so it's beyond that. So they're taking up all of this space in the right-of-way and onto the paved roadway.
County right away or?
County
Yes,
right-of-way.
County right away, okay.
All right, if you want to cycle through the initial inspection ones, and you'll get to one. Keep going. Sorry, there were so many photos, but there is a lot, or was a lot, on this one.
I think we get the idea there.
You'll get to one that says inspection 10-1, initial inspection again. All right. Now on 10/28, that was some time I gave them, about 30 days to get that stuff cleaned up initially. On 10/28, this was the follow-up inspection. Not quite as many photos this time, but you'll get the idea. They've had made a little bit of progress, but still a long way to go. On 11/4, another inspection. There was a little more progress made, but still a long way to go. January 9th. Sorry, did I go too far? There you go. So January 9th, another inspection. Again, they're still working on it, but now you can see in the back left-hand corner, we've got new things starting to come. There's a trailer and a car on a trailer. They're kind of moving things around, trying to get things cleaned up and out of there. 121, progress has slowed down a little bit. Go to 2/4. On 2/4, going. There you go. Oops, sorry. On 2/4, the vehicles had been removed. Still junk and debris remained. On 3/4, there was no progress. Seemed like items were being rearranged, but nothing was really leaving the site. All right, hold on there on 325. So on March 11th, after that March 4th inspection, I sent out a notice of violation, certified mail to property owner record. So I received all of those back. All of them, for every one of them, came back unclaimed. So I ended up going out and posting the property with the notice of violation and the South Walton Annex. Now you can go through the compliance inspection on 325. and then you'll come to the posting photo for the notice of violation. Now, of course, at that time then, that was March, the COVID thing kicked up and we were all tasked for other areas, so my next inspection wasn't until May 4th. And as you can see, a couple months later, while it is cleaner on the roadway, there's still quite a bit of junk and debris that still needs to be cleaned up. Now you got a clear picture of the mobile home back there. After that inspection on May 12th, a notice of hearing was posted to the property in the South Walton Annex building. And then we'll go into current conditions. I received a call yesterday from Cecil Bryant. He asked me to come out and inspect again this morning. And this is what it looked like as of this morning. The bulk of the junk and debris has been removed. You can still see there's a little bit yet left to pick up, and we discussed cleaning that up. And then there's a little bit more on this side to clean up. The big items that need to be removed yet are going to be the mobile home. The mobile home is actually dilapidated and it's in the right of way partially. They tried to move it at one point and it broke, so they can't pull it. So they're going to have to tear it down on site. And then can you go up one photo? And the RV that's backed into the trees there, the bus, that's actually partially in the right of way as well. So they'll have to, he does have that listed and said he had someone that was going to come and get it. So that may go away. So they're getting closer, but it's been a long time and, you know, it's been really bad. So what I'd like to do at this point, you can move to the recommendation screen, is I'd like to recommend to the board that, one, the vacant parcel located on Nimrod Circle is located in the unincorporated area of Walton County, subject to 70201A2 and 70203A of the Walton County Land Development Code. Proper notice was given to the respondent. The violation does exist on the property. The respondent is to correct the violations within 30 days of the date of this order and is ordered to contact the Walton County Code Enforcement Department to arrange for a reinspection. If the respondent fails to comply with above actions or fails to bring the property into compliance with applicable codes, ordinances, and regulations according to this order, the board assess a fine of $250 a day until the property is brought into compliance. The reasoning behind the $250 a day with this one is this particular area has a history of doing this. There's 2 other cases where they've done exactly the same thing. They've allowed stuff to pile up in the right of way. We go out, we get them to clean it up, they move it back out of the right of way. It's just a continual use of the public right of way that shouldn't be. It should all be back on their property. And my hope is that the $250 a day will spur them to get what they need done and to potentially not do it again. Any questions?
Please. But moving stuff off the right-of-way is not the issue, right? I mean, you're talking about junk and debris on the property as well as...
Well, no, the specific one is junk and debris on the right-of-way, because
Oh.
all of this stuff is located on the right-of-way. At this point, I don't even have access to get back to the property to even know what the rest of the property looks like, because it's pretty wooded and there is a large mobile home in the way. So I wouldn't even have notion to even go back beyond there. So right now, we're just dealing with getting the right-of-way cleaned off.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
All right, well then at this time, if there's no other questions, I'd like to accept my presentation in PowerPoint and testimony as evidence.
I will accept your presentation, testimony, and recommendations into the record.
All right.
Is the respondent or anyone to speak on behalf of, yes, ma'am, come right ahead. Is anyone else here on this case? Okay, get you next. Yes, ma'am, you state your name and,
I'm Tanya Lopez. I am partial owner of that property.
okay. Go right ahead. What do you have to,
Oh, I'm saying that we have been cleaning up out there. Me and my brothers, we all work. I go out of town and work for weeks at a time and come back. And we have just been working. My mom and my stepdad have been helping work out there and trying to clean up all that stuff. It's a dead end and people drop stuff off there all the time. They bring trailers out there and they drop tile off and, roof. They just drop it off because nobody lives down there physically.
Who does?
Just people in general out there, they drop it off at like a dead end, at the dead end road. And they just clear their trailer off, tile and roofing and all kind of stuff that we've had to clean up before. And there's logs out there, the people drops off logs, but we're trying to get all that stuff cleaned up out there.
Okay. Do you understand what Officer Rose
Yes, sir.
recommended? And if we should approve a motion to accept his recommendations, that you will have that many, 30 days to get this completed, correct? You understand?
I understand that's his motion,
Or
yes.
be fine. Okay, does anyone have did you have anything else to?
Yes, I do. The tearing down the trailer, we have to pay somebody out there to come out there to get a tractor out there to get it down. And
Is that your trailer?
yes.
Okay.
We tried to move it back there
Right.
and the whole back end broke off. And at that point I was, I had nowhere to live at that time after that because you couldn't move the trailer. So I was concerned with trying to find somewhere to live. And we're trying to hire somebody to come out there and tear it down and to get the bus. With the dumpster, yeah, we're trying to get the dumpster out there.
Let me ask you a question, just from physical, looking at the site plan of Villa Tasso. Your lot is shown on the circle, and everybody keeps referring to it as a dead end. Does that mean that the circle, I can't read the name of the circle,
It's Nimrod Circle.
Nimrod Circle, is that not complete all the way to Roberts Avenue?
No, sir, that does not go all the way around. It dead ends there, and there states that there's a road that's supposed to be open there, but we were told that they wouldn't open the road because there were wetlands back there. And we were told if we wanted to open the road, we could, but we didn't really want to. And I think he said yesterday that the road, somebody was trying to petition up the street to open the road. I'm not sure.
I assume these are county streets.
Yes, sir.
Mike, can you come up and enlighten us about this, if you would?
2 weeks ago is when they surveyed, and I guess they've got tags out there now showing where the road is supposed to be and we really didn't know how wide the road, or where the road really went.
Well, before Matt comes up, Mike, I guess what I'm hearing you saying, that everybody's using this as an opportunity to dump their dump.
Some people, yes, some people were. We are trying to, I mean, that's a lot of our stuff out there, sir, but a lot of people try to take the opportunity to use it as a dump site.
Okay, well, I wanted to hear from Mac if any planning department has issues or about completing the roadway.
Matt Carp for the Planning Department. Public Works would be responsible for opening that road if there was a need to do that. There are a number of roads out there that are platted from the 20s when this plat was originally recorded. It was supposed to be a resort, and if you look at the Seaside plat, you look at this one, you see a lot of similarities. They're just about 60 years apart.
Understand.
There are a number of roads out there that are public right-of-way, because all the roads were dedicated to the county, so this is public right-of-way. Not all of those roads have been opened, similar to a number of our older plats in the county where they were platted without regard to the environmental constraints that might.
So the individuals, if any individual owns those lots between their property and Roberts Avenue, they would not have access to their property?
Not without getting the appropriate wetland impact permit to open the roadway.
Okay.
Which from time to time, people do request permission, and they work with Public Works with a right-of-way agreement to construct something that's consistent with their standards at their own expense, and that is available here because it is public right-of-way, but Public Works doesn't see a public purpose yet in opening that right-of-way.
Did I hear someone say there's a wetland involved there?
I believe there is a wetland that this right-of-way does straddle, so.
Just to clarify for the record, Mr. Carpenter, the county has not abandoned their right-of-way at all?
The right-of-way is not abandoned. And I'm not aware that the county has any intent in abandoning the right-of-way. From time to time, requests for abandonment do come up. Public Works has been consistently commenting that in the opposite, opposing the abandonment. At some point, as our county continues to develop, these roads may get opened up. There are a lot of folks moving here.
Thanks, Mac, appreciate it.
Ms. Tanya, tell me your last name one more time.
Lopez, Tanya Lopez.
okay. Do you, just, one quick question. Do you feel like you would be able to complete the cleanup within the 30 days that?
I feel like I cannot, I mean, I just feel like it's a lot to do and for myself in 30 days. I mean, I have to pay somebody to come out there and tear down the trailer. And there is a lot of debris that, I mean, we really like to get a dumpster. I think they did tell us we could get a dumpster out there. We did have a fire back there at one point last year, but, and we were gonna get a dumpster then. But we all got, my brothers and I got scheduled to work out of town, you know, to Utah, California, wherever, but I wasn't able to get the dumpster and clean the debris up back there. There's still burned stuff back there that it needs to be cleaned up also.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a recommendation that we listen to the other person that wants to speak,
Right.
and then we can
Right.
call her back to find out if there's some other information we
Sure.
need to know?
Yes, sir. Come to the podium, please. State your name and,
Good
Tell us what you
afternoon.
got,
My
sir.
name is Tom Gilmore. I live at 51 Bayside. I'd like to first express my gratitude for the time of the board and the staff, and especially the sheriff. I'd like to, for the record, state, Walton County's my home, put a lot of work and investment in Walton County, and especially in Billatasso. My experience with the planning and building departments have been really positive, and they're easy to work with. I wanted to say that after hearing the other cases, so you know. I would like to say that from a personal experience, that the difference between complying with the code and complying with the law is a huge disparity in cost and effort versus not. In the area of, for a small lot, $100,000 or more. I would invite you to come to Billatasso. I would take you on a tour to show you what we have. I happen to agree with the person this hearing's about that there is a culture of dumping that exists in Billatasso. And if she's a victim of that, we need to figure out a way to help her figure out how to do it. And maybe it takes the board an extra month. I'll come to help us figure out how to deal with it. But if I take you around and the sheriff knows, he's been around, I welcome you to see it. It's terrible. I'd also like, for the record, to tell you that I own the wetland that is beneath the hill that this dumping has occurred. And I can tell you, I can point you out and show you a stream that flows into the bay that has an oil sheen because of the dumping. When the rain is low, you can see the sheen that occurs, and that wetland goes through my property and into the bay. I would ask that the board consider asking for the Department of Environment for the state of Florida to come and sample the soil and look at the damage, the environmental damage that this dumping has been caused. I don't know what to do about it. I watch that oil every time, and you know, I can only sympathize with anybody who's having this dumping occur. And I can tell you, as someone who loves Walton County and the state of Florida, I made it my home. I wasn't born here, but I know some of you have been, and you love it here, that this is tragic, and we need to try and figure it out, and it's got to stop. And I'll be here for case after case that asks this culture of dumping, because I can call the sheriff, and they'll say, it's not my job. Or like we heard before, this is public works. It's not my job. Well, now we have dumping that's putting sewage and oil into the bay.
Well, let me make a comment, sir. You really need to be in front of the county commission.
I'll be glad to go there. I just have an opportunity to speak.
You need to make a request in front of the county commission, because this is really the wrong board. I certainly am sympathetic with the situation. We hate to see that's going on, but our board here cannot really do anything to help that situation. The only thing we can do is to help the lady that owns the property, and we'll take that on now, but please, ask for time with the county commission. Can you tell him how to do that?
And I was just gonna say, it would certainly help if you got, if it's that pervasive of a problem in that development, that you have your friends and neighbors and, you join forces with you to come and get before the county commission.
Good idea.
As, Ms. Bowman says, we're here, I mean, Ms. Lopez has, been found in, or not been found in, but she's allegedly in violation of this code, which we're going to make a motion on here shortly, and figure out what we need to do as far as her contribution to the dumping, which she has already admitted to, basically. But if there, and I live south of the bay, and we got the same problem in the forest down there. I mean, you can go through the trails, and there's appliances and all kinds of crap. So it's not just in Villatassa, I assure you. But yeah, and I agree 100% with you that something needs to be done about it, especially if we've got contamination going into the bay. This, Mr. Bowman says, is not the place you need to plead your case there. That would be the county commission.
I'll be happy to.
But she'll give you some
Yes, sir. If you go to the Walton County if you go to Walton County's website, you can go under the BCC and apply for a commission meeting you want to go to that you'd like to speak under public comment. Also, if you're you're seeing oil in the water, you can call Florida. You can call and make a complaint with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for them to start their own investigation as well. I'd encourage you to do that.
Well, I did so here on the record, and I understand what you're saying, and I just want you to understand that for the person involved, there is a culture of dumping. That's my testimony to you.
I understand.
Thank you.
The only other thing I'd say about the county, my understanding is their hearings are not at this time.
And another thing that you can do is to write letters to your individual county commissioners.
I'm in touch with them. Thank you very much.
That's very helpful.
All right, you had another comment?
Eckhart for the planning department. I would recommend that this gentleman, if what he describes is happening in his neighborhood, and I believe that it is, request that the code enforcement staff be proactive in this neighborhood for some period of time in an effort to get it cleaned up. Unfortunately, we're unable to be proactive in most of the county. It's a complaint-driven system. That is our policy, with the exception of our 2 scenic corridors. The 38 scenic corridor and the US 98 scenic corridor. Otherwise, we rely on citizens to report these things. I mean, the obvious environmental damage that we may drive by, we were able to address that directly without a complaint. But we largely rely on complaints in areas such as Villatassa. From time to time, we have a number of them, but that would be my recommendation. He asked the commissioners to allow code enforcement to be proactive in this neighborhood to help get it cleaned up. We have done that in certain other neighborhoods in the county. I think recently in the Oakwood Hills area, Commissioner Nipper asked for some proactive code enforcement in that area, and it was we worked with the Sheriff's Department and code enforcement and made some significant improvements in that area where we have some Habitat for Humanity affordable housing going in. But that certainly would be my recommendation, that he would ask the commissioners to allow code enforcement to be proactive in this neighborhood for some period of time in an effort to help get it cleaned up.
That would be from this board to the commissioners? Is that
No,
what
that
you're
would
saying?
be from this individual
okay.
to the commissioners. whether they're individual or at the meeting. And I'm speaking to the board, but you can appear at the meeting in person. We have to wear these, get our temperature checked, but you now can appear, or you can appear by Zoom.
Well, Mac, one last thing. I've found the DEP to be pretty proactive when you start talking about oil and other substance going in the bay. Do you agree with that?
Yes, now, if we've got something like that we can observe from public property, we can absolutely open a case on something like that.
Okay, well, I just want a recommendation that you get a hold of the DEP folks and get them out there and just tell them the situation, and they should help you a lot, because coming from the state, it should carry some weight.
Based on your counsel, I'll do that. Thank you.
And I got just one last comment. I mean, obviously, the dumping is illegal anyway. I mean, there's laws in place to enforce against that. I would recommend maybe they put together some neighborhood watch group, because somebody's got to see something from time to time, I would think, if it's that pervasive of a problem. Get tag numbers, report them to send them to call the sheriff's department as well as code enforcement.
Need a game camera.
A what?
A game camera.
Yeah, there you go. But just saying like that the neighborhood can do also if you're experiencing such a severe problem.
I hear what you're saying. I would strongly invite you to see.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
No, I believe you. But I'm just, if it's that prevalent a problem.
A game camera is not necessary when it's in the road and there's dumping all over in the road in front of residences.
To find out who's doing it.
You have to have that's right, yeah.
It's well known. It's documented.
The individuals that's doing this?
Yes, sir. And if you'll see these people in front of you, I expect, in the next few months. And I think the people in the department, the staff, everyone knows what we're talking about. I would invite you to see it. It's so obvious. And let me tell you that it's not just dumping. And the sheriff is very busy. Dumping would be the least problem. But thank you.
Officer Butler, do you have a comment?
Officer Butler again. I would agree with I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Mr. Gilmore. We do have a lot of cases. I personally have 3 other cases in the Villa Tasso area. I don't know about the other officers. It's got some areas that are really bad, and we're trying to get it cleaned up. A couple of years ago, Commissioner Commander,
Yes.
Commander, a couple of years ago, got us some dumpsters, and we got with Public Works and went out there and we cleaned up a bunch of stuff. But it has reappeared. It's over and over. It's an ongoing battle we have. Well, we are working on that area. Like I said, if they could be proactive or get the commissioners to do that, that would be great. We can make some better progress.
And I think I understood that's what Mr. Carpenter recommended, that, Mr. Gilmore and others come to the commission and request more of a proactive enforcement, like that enforcement and others.
Would it be appropriate ask our attorney to write a note to the county commission to take it under advisement and try to schedule enough time for the individuals to make the presentation about this dumping situation? Can we do that?
Contact the county attorney's office and.
Okay.
Sydney.
So I'd make a recommendation, we do that, and then we need to get back to.
Right. So do we need a motion? We don't need a motion on any of that so far, do we? All right, thank you, Mr.
Yes, sir. And I just want to add, the sweep that we did in the Oakwood Hills, we were working together with the sheriff's department. They had a animal control officer out there in case dogs or anything was messing with us. We had dumpsters in the area for people to bring their stuff to, and it worked really well. So if we could get something like that for the Villa Tasso area, we could make some good progress.
Yeah, I think the county commission would have to do that, so maybe that's what'll come out of this. Okay, thanks.
Certainly encourage that.
All right, we have one more public comment that is on Zoom, if you'd like to hear that first.
Yep, go right ahead.
All right,
Hang on,
Kenny.
Ms. Lopez, we'll get back to you in just a minute.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Kenny Bell. I own the property next door to the property we're talking about. All this stuff on the right-of-way is blocking access to my property. All the parking's right in front of the entrance to my property. So I always have junk piled everywhere. We've hauled off more than 22 20-yard dumpsters there. We've worked with Mr. Rose. I bought the property to clean it up. We've been working out on it for almost 2 years now. And any help you could give us to get this cleaned up and get the right-of-way cleaned up, we'd certainly appreciate it.
Yes, sir, and that's what we're aiming to do, I assure you, one way or another here. So
Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Okay, anybody got any questions for?
He was Kenny Bell, but you cannot consider his statements in your decision-making. Just swear him in, he's not, unless he's an officer of the court via.
He's got to be in person to do that, okay.
I wouldn't swear him in unless he has.
Understand. Okay, I think.
Public comment.
All right, does anyone have any questions, Mr. Bell? All right, Ms. Lopez? Okay, back to where we left off with you. All right, I think I had asked you whether or not you would be able to complete the cleanup within 30 days. We want to be reasonable. We want to enable you to be successful.
Right.
But understand, as Officer Rose stated, that this has been going on way too long. So
Exactly.
we're not going to let it drag out much longer.
Right.
So give me a reasonable time frame that you would like for us to consider, if you so wish.
I would like to consider 6 months. Because I work out of town for 2 weeks at a time. I come home, and my stepdad had a stroke a couple weeks ago. He's still out there helping, but we're trying to get the dumpster out there, and we have to, get somebody out there to tear the trailer down.
Okay.
I mean, I can try to do it myself, but
So 6 months would be your request. All right. Do you have anything else to add, or does anybody have any questions for Ms. Lopez anymore?
we have put cameras up there and try to catch some of those people, but they take them down. And we try to look through some of the stuff and about to get their names, and we cannot. I mean, it's really bad. Sometimes it gets really bad out there.
I think we're coming to that understanding, so hopefully we can get something done.
Okay.
About it. As far as your contribution to it, we would certainly like for you to cease and desist. So.
Right.
And clean that area up. All right, if you don't have anything else, or the board doesn't have any other questions, I think I can accept Ms. Lopez's statements and testimony.
I do have one last thing. I just thought, you admitted that the trailer is actually yours, though.
Yes,
That's
sir.
just living. Okay, thank you. Is the RV yours?
No, sir. That's my mom's and my stepdad's.
Oh, but it's family.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
His favorite stuff. Yeah, it's not mine personally. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then I'll accept Ms. Lopez's testimony and statements into the record. And do we have any more public comments or
No, I don't have any more showing
testimony?
here.
Okay. In that case, I'll close this public participation portion of this hearing and open up for board discussion and entertain any motions. Yes, sir.
If property is on the public right-of-way, does the county have any power to remove that?
It's abandoned property. Once they tag it as abandoned property, and whatever the time period is, only a very short matter of time after it's been tagged. They could have come in with that RV and the cars and tagged those, and then had a towing company come get them. That towing company would then have advertised and then auctioned it off. So there was a way to do that without, a lot of expense.
Because if somebody comes in and dumps something on that right-of-way, and it's not owned by her,
It is a
you
grandma.
obligated to clean it up?
She's not necessarily obligated to clean it up, but we don't have proof either way of
Right,
who dumped
right.
what. And her admission in her
Right.
statement was that part of the items that were there in excess of the trailer and the RV were partly her and
Correct.
her family's property. If it was not hers, then certainly not, but she should have reported it to.
So if she just takes that trailer and scoots it back off the
No.
right-of-way,
No, that's an abandoned trailer. It's unhavable. So you still,
And she had, and the part of the case is that she's, part of the violation is a dilapidated structure.
right.
The structure is partway on the, or fully on the right of way,
Right.
so just moving it back is not gonna cure the violation at this point.
And if all the junk got moved back onto her property, then there would still be another violation later on.
it would just cause another violation, but it would, this violation is only for what's on the right-of-way, correct?
That is correct.
Well, I'd make a recommendation if everybody's through commenting that we accept the officer's recommendation, but give them 90 days to take care of the problem. What?
I think it was 30, right?
He's amending it
Change
tonight.
Oh, you're changing it
Yeah,
tonight. I'm
right.
sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Change it 90 days. I think we need to try to work with as much as possible, given what the circumstances are. But somehow, hopefully, the testimony to the county commission by the group of individuals out there may help the situation. So anyway, that's my motion.
All right, so we have a motion from Victor that we accept Officer Rose's recommendations and findings with the exception of extending the compliance period from 30 days to 90 days, correct? Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Schneider. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Ms. Lopez, did you understand we're splitting the difference with you? We're giving you a little more time, but not as much as you asked for or want. So we would encourage you to do your utmost and very best to get that brought into compliance as soon as possible. Ma'am? I believe so. I'm sure whatever is reasonably required to get you cleaned up is just work with Officer Rose and he'll give you guidance on what you can and can't do. Sure.
Private dumpster companies that they.
Sure.
Well, I assumed that's what she was asking. What were you asking?
No, she's asking if we can provide one.
Oh, if we can provide one. I don't think so. I don't think county's not in the dumpster business, but so you have.
We had a fire out there, they told us when we were ready.
Officer Rose, you want to address
So-
that? The matter, though, the hearing's closed, but so we're just.
Yeah,
having-
just to answer Ms. Lopez's question, in regards to the fire, and just like we have with the fires anywhere, dumpsters are typically offered by the landfill to help with the fire damage to get that material cleared off. If she did have a fire, that would be the contact person, would be the landfill to see if they could get her a dumpster to get that cleaned up.
Would that require commission approval?
No,
No?
no, that's something that can be done right from.
So
the
again,
landfill.
Officer Rose can give you guidance on, maybe ways to get, alternate ways to get a dumpster out there for you.
All the county's dumpsters are in use and
Right,
so
Yeah.
that's not an excuse to extend.
And we're not recommending that a fire occur, please.
The fire occurred last year.
Okay. Next case. No, we got one more, don't we? Case number 17-001017. Property owner Tammy Hall. Who is the case officer on this one?
That one will be mine.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed that. I thought we only had 3.
Oh. All right.
Non-compliance.
Oh.
All right, and just so you are aware, we do have Ms. Hall on Zoom when her turn comes up.
Let me ask you, we can swear in somebody on Zoom?
I don't have a way to do that at this time unless the county has adopted a
So
way.
you
that I don't know.
can't look at her and,
They should be able to look at her if she has.
but if you can look at her and, oh, to show, okay. This
There's
seems
no
like,
way to prove it is who they say they are without having. available on video, or is she on? Just for public knowledge, the difference between this board and, say, the county commission is matter. So they have to have sworn testimony. We're taking testimony as a quasi-judicial body.
Right.
All right, for the record, my name is Officer Kurt Rose, Walton County Code Enforcement. This is case number 171017. The property owner is Tammy Hall. This is 32 West Dogwood Avenue in Defuniak Springs, and this was a dilapidated structure. This is a non-compliance hearing. This is just a recap for you to go through it. It was originally violation of a dilapidated structure that was found in violation at the previous hearing. If you want to move down to the next slide, please. This is in the Oakwood Hills area of Mossy Head. This is right at the intersection of Walden Road and Dogwood. Next slide, please. This is the mobile home in question. On 6/2019, we had a hearing that gave a compliance date of 8/20. On 8/27, an affidavit of noncompliance was issued or was recorded. From September 2019 until March of 2020, they had made small progresses at each inspection. And the reason for the additional time, if you remember, this was one for, actually, Mr. Porter isn't here at this time, but he had actually made mention where he wanted to try to reach out and help that person to see if he could get that mobile home pulled out of there for, I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but ultimately that failed and there was no way to get it out of there. So I just kind of let her try to take it down and do what she could do with it. So that was from September to March. Of course, then we ran into COVID. So then on May 19th, you can go down to the next slide, please. I went back out again, still kind of in the same shape. They've got a little done with taking a few things off. They do have a small pile. It's just very, very slow going. So on 5/19, I sent a notice of hearing and posted the property. You can see the posting on there with another picture of the mobile home. Next parcel, next picture. And this one was as of 7/13/2020 when I drove by. Again, you can see a little bit's been coming down slowly but surely. They've been working their way back to it. But, you know, we are going on a year now, and we are back in hurricane season with, you know, that's potential hazard debris. So we'll move down to the next one, please. I would recommend at this time that the board issues an order imposing fines and administrative lien, and fine be set at $100 a day beginning the date of this order. At the final order, when you guys did the last one, you did not issue a fine to give her additional time that we would have to come back and do another fine hearing. So it's been almost a year later since that hearing, and we're still at that spot where it's not down, it's not knocked down. So at this time, I'd like to see the fine be instated of $100 a day. I don't know if it'll ever be taken down, if she'll ever get it down, but ultimately, if we don't have a fine in place, then we don't have the ability to move forward.
Excuse me.
No problem, to move forward with any kind of abatement. So we have to have the fines in place for that.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Mhm.
Can you back up a slide?
Sure.
Those other structures behind there, it looks like a fairly new little storage building you can buy, you know, like at Home Depot or something. What are those?
Yeah, they're just little sheds back there. They've been back there since I started this case.
Well, I mean, do they have to be moved since they're
No.
they're accessories?
No. There's two other mobile homes on the property.
Oh.
So there doesn't have to be additional. There's another double wide that they actually live in on the property, which is just left of it.
So they're accessory structured, but they're allowed.
They would still be allowed to be there, yes.
Okay.
So you don't have a photograph? I mean, it must be a pretty big piece of property then.
Yeah, if you go back there, go to the green one, you'll see how long it is. It actually encompasses, I believe, 3 or 4 lots.
Okay, so you can drive through there to get to the living residence.
Oh, yeah. You drive up onto Dogwood, you pull right in, and they're all right there lined up. So there would be no other violation on the property if this one was taken down.
Anything else? Anybody else? Any questions? So your recommendation was to issue an order of non-compliance as of today?
The affidavit of noncompliance was already issued. All I'm asking for today is the order imposing fines and administrative lien to set the fine amount, and let's get that on document, because if this doesn't come down, then at least 3 months from now, when the time it elapses for that, we can then at least seek some other remedy from the Board of County Commissioners.
The initial violation was found ago, and so, but at the time, you decided as a board not to implement a fine. Now he's coming forward to impose the fine, and it's proper at this point not to have.
I recommend
I
that.
didn't mean, if I said violation, I didn't mean, I meant non-compliance. Okay.
I'll make a recommendation, we accept the officer's recommendation.
Hold on. If you have no other questions, and then if you would accept my testimony and PowerPoint as evidence. Slow down.
Thank you.
Testimony, recommendations, and PowerPoint presentation are accepted into evidence. Record.
I don't know how you want it. Do you want to try to let her talk just to see? See if I can do that real quick. Not, but oops.
Hello?
Ms. Hall, can you hear us okay?
I don't know what keeps happening, but it keeps cutting off.
Okay, I can hear you now, Ms. Hall. Ms. Hall,
I've been on here.
okay, can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, do you have video available on your tablet?
Excuse me?
Do you have the ability to turn your video on your tablet?
It should be on.
All right, I'm going to send you a notice that's going to ask you to turn on your video, so hopefully you'll be able to see that come up. All right, give me 1 second. I think she's on there. And there she is.
Working now?
Yep, give me 1 second. I'm going to see if I can make you a little bit bigger here.
Probably did appreciate that.
The video screen a little larger. And I am not seeing where I'm going to be able to do that.
PowerPoint is still up there.
Oh, all right, let me get the PowerPoint off of there, and there we go.
There you go.
Ms. Hall, would you state your name,
Yes.
please, for the record?
Tammy Hall.
Would you raise your right hand, please? I'd like to kind of back up so we can see, there we go.
There you go.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And do you swear and affirm that you are indeed Tammy Hall?
Yes.
Okay, and can you state your address,
Excuse me?
state your address, please?
32 West Dogwood Avenue, Phoenix Springs.
Thank you.
Okay.
As good as we can do, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Ms. Hall, were you able to hear Officer Rose and his testimony and his statements made to the board just a few minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay.
I could hear you.
Okay. So you understand what he's recommended for this board to do at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any?
If I had the money, I would pay somebody to come tear it down. But I don't have the money. And the people that were gonna tear it down tore it halfway down and left. And they tore one end off down, and that was it.
I'm sorry, they tore one end off
Yeah.
and left? Did y'all hear that? Okay. Okay, I understand what you're saying. We're just trying to work to where we can get this item put to rest and have you come into compliance. What's your outlook as far as being able to get this structure off of your property? Do you have any other way or means to do so?
I reckon I might have to get out there and do it myself. That's the only thing I know. I can't get nobody else to help me.
Okay.
They'll say they will, and then they won't show up. I mean, I work at the Stanley House, and I work 12, 16 hours a day at night. Kind of hard to get in, out.
Yes, ma'am. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Hall? Statements? Okay. Ms. Hall, you have anything else to say?
I got a question.
Okay.
There's still a burn ban in Walton County?
Burn ban.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a burn ban, but I'll probably have to get a permit.
Oh, I know. No, I'm not talking about burning the trailer. No, it's too close to my shed I just bought.
Okay,
Not
so
too
so
long ago, or
what's
still paying for.
why are you asking about the burn ban then?
Well, I was gonna, I've been trying to clean in the yard, but I didn't wanna, get limbs up and start a fire if there was a burn ban. I just wasn't sure.
Okay, well, we're being
And I just
told here
figured y'all
by,
could answer that question.
all right, we're being told here by, the planning staff that, there's not one, and I believe, I have not,
Okay.
as far as I know, it's been lifted, so, and that's being confirmed, so there is not a burn ban in place at this time.
Okay.
All right, so back to the matter at hand.
Have
The-
Mr. Steve Hall.
Oh,
No.
that was a different one. All right, anything else, Ms. Hall?
No.
Okay.
Close it. I don't know.
All right, then, I'm going to, seeing there no other public input, close this, the public portion of the hearing and open up for board discussion, so.
A delay for the fine, or does the fine start immediately?
Sure you can, sure.
So,
It would start as, per his recommendation, the beginning, the date of the order being signed.
And it's $100 a day, right?
Right.
Mr. Rose.
however, be aware that the state of emergency is still in effect, and it actually wouldn't accrue until after the state emergency ended.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Understand that, though?
I don't know. Did you hear what Mr. Rose just said? Ms. Hall?
Hold on, I muted her phone, mic, so you'll have to give her a second. There you go.
Why don't you repeat that?
Were you able to hear me, Ms. Hall?
I heard y'all talking, but I couldn't understand what you.
Okay, so if they put this fine into effect, okay, immediately today, and at the stated amount of $100 a day, the actual fine currently will not go into effect until after the state of emergency has been lifted in the state of Florida, because currently we're under a state of emergency for COVID-19. So while we will institute the fine here, it actually would not start accruing until after that state of emergency was over. Does that make sense? Okay.
So if, I don't know, I'm not understanding.
Okay, hold on one moment, Ms. Hall.
Mr. Chairman, you may want to let her know that while the, state of emergency is in place, that gives her time to
Right,
get the
right,
trailer removed without.
Let me, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, what Officer Rose was stating, that due to the coronavirus, the state of emergency in place due to the coronavirus at this time, if this board votes under motion to approve Officer Rose's findings and recommendations, per se the fine, then you would have, until that state of emergency is lifted, and we don't know when that will be, until that fine starts accruing. So in other words, you've got a grace period, an unknown grace period before the fine starts accruing to get this taken care of, this matter taken care of.
Okay.
So
if I get,
I don't know what,
Here.
ma'am, I'm sorry.
if I get it done, do I just call?
Yes, ma'am.
Rose,
You
you
would
get-
call Officer
check it.
Rose, code enforcement, and he will come out and verify that it has been taken care of, and then you will be free and clear.
Okay.
Okay? So, before that we vote on this matter, I would just encourage you to come up with some way, I don't know, church group, whoever you can solicit to help you get this matter taken care of, get the rest of that structure removed, okay? Because we really need for that to happen.
And be listening when
Okay.
the state of emergency may lift.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Understand that? All right. All right, very good. Then, with that, now I'll reclose the public portion of this meeting. All right, discussion board. Motion, whatever.
I move that we take Officer Rose's recommendation.
Second.
You know, all I would offer there is that maybe we reduce the fine to
15.
consider reducing it some. You want to revise the motion?
Yeah, let's go from $100 to $50 a day. I don't know if that's going to make any difference.
I don't think
I agree.
You need to vote on the amendment first.
Yeah, if you accept the amendment, and you accept the amendment, then.
Yeah, I accept the amendment.
Amended motion,
Yeah, so-
okay. So we have a motion and a second to accept Officer Rose's recommendations with the exception of reducing the fine to $50 a day. So, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, Ms. Hall, please find a way to get that structure removed from the property, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Something, that's what I say. All right, with that, do we have any other business or, then I'll, motion to adjourn?